So I read some pretty disappointing books this year that I thought were going to be good, and I'm going to tell you what they are. Let's get started. Alright guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Zach with Zacks Books, and today I've got for you my top 10 biggest disappointments of 2020. Whether it is a sequel that just didn't live up to the first one, or just a book that I went into thinking it was going to be good and it just was not, it's going to be on this list. This is different than top 10 worst books I've read in 2020. A few of these might appear on that list and a few might not. So we're going to get it started. This is in no particular order. I couldn't really come up with like yeah, this was the biggest disappointment of 2020. I might have one of those, but I can't put it in like order. Without further ado, let's get started with the list. We're going to look at some disappointing books for me. The first disappointment I had in 2020 is Elevation by Stephen King. Anything by Stephen King I am going to read and give a solid chance to. This book is really short. It's not even considered a novel in my opinion. I think it should be a novella. That's what it should be. But it was really short. It was also like super confusing. It just starts out like right away. Like, yeah, this is what's going on in my life. I'm like, just like losing weight, getting smaller, but I'm still the same mass. There's no explanation whatsoever. As a comparison to Thinner, why the guy's losing weight, it's explained. He hit a gypsy and the guy put a curse on him and he's losing weight. In this, it just boom, right away. Where's the lead up? Like, if Cujo started out with just a rabid dog attacking a family, that book's gonna not be good. So I didn't like this because there's no like explanation. I mean, I guess that could be like part of the supernatural aspect of like it can't be explained, but like you guys know this, my wife knows this. I'm someone who needs something definitive. I need something there. So that's why this book was a big disappointment. Nothing was explained. It was just kind of, yep, here it is. So, Elevation by Stephen King, a disappointment. The next one is The Ballad of Black Tom by Victor Lavelle. The cover looks cool. The concept is pretty exciting. I just didn't like, the first part of the book is kind of meh, and then it kind of picks up at the end. Black Tom gets like sucked into like this weird thing, and then he comes back and he's this completely different person because he like met and talked to Cthulhu or some crap like that, and it just got really confusing. I got super lost, and I just really hated it. Reading the back of it, it sounded really cool, and it made perfect sense. I wanted to give it a read. I read it, and wow, this was not that good. I actually did this in a short story battle. You can see that video up here if you have not seen it yet. But I really did not. I still am confused as of what really happened. So, again, you can see more of my review of the book in the video we did. But I was confused. I didn't understand what really changed him. Obviously, Cthulhu is like this creature that is like manipulative and stuff like that. But I was just lost. I didn't get it, and I just didn't really enjoy it that much. So, Ballad of Black Tom, sorry, not a good book. Disappointed me. The next one I was kind of contemplating not putting in this, but then at the end of the day I really thought about it, and it really was kind of a disappointment, and that's The Cabin at the End of the World by Paul Tremblay. The story was good, but just the way it kind of went about, I was contemplating why I wanted to put it on this list, and then I remembered why I remembered why I did, and it was because of a character not making it to the end, when the whole entire time the story seems to be kind of built around the person. And then, like, within the last 100 pages, that person dies. And I thought that was really dumb. Like, I get it, it's kind of like a gut punch, like, yeah, it's not sunshines and rainbows. But, like, really? That was really annoying. I hated that. I didn't get it. I don't know what else to say about it. We did this in, I think, another reading vlog where I read 3 of, I think it was a Gabby Reads recommendations, I think was this one. I don't remember if it was part 1 or part 2. The ending with the person who didn't make it, it was sad, I hated it, and I was highly disappointed with Paul Tremblay doing that. So that's why this is making the list, because of that happening. So, Paul Tremblay, The Cabin at the End of the World, disappointment, just because of what happened. So, the next 2, I would say, are probably my top 2 biggest disappointments for 2020. One, because one of them is by my favorite author, Stephen King, and 2, one is The Haunted House. Because that's been like my vibe, is like haunted house stuff and wanting to read like haunted house stuff for the year of 2020 for the past while. And I heard a lot about this book. This book was compared to Home Before Dark by Riley Sager, and I saw zero comparison to the book whatsoever. And that is The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. The book started out fairly decent with a group of people meeting up in this house. And then within like 20 pages, it went from like this girl having like a nightmare to sudden she's killing herself on like a staircase, and then she gets sent away and some weird crap happens. Like a lot just like changes just like that. And it was really irritating. It was a story I was able to follow for a very good chunk of it, and then all of a sudden everything happened within like 20 pages, 30 pages, and I myself personally could not keep up with it, and I got really confused and lost. And I mean, maybe if I reread it, maybe it won't be as disappointing, but I had such high hopes because this was compared to Home Before Dark by Riley Sager. Maybe that's going to be in a video soon. But this book was just really disappointing because of that. I don't know. Maybe if I reread it, I might change my mind. But for right now, for the year 2020, this has been a real disappointment. Not good. So like I said, this next one is probably the biggest disappointment I had for my favorite author, Stephen King. And you hear the washing machine going, it's laundry day again. Woo. But this was the biggest disappointment for me. I did this in a short story collection showdown with him. I think it was Different Seasons versus Full Dark No Stars. I believe that was my comparison. That video will be up here if you want to take a look at that. I thought it was a pretty cool showdown. I really liked it. But there was one story in Different Seasons that shocked me as to how kind of disappointing it was for me, and that's Apt Pupil. The body was great. Shawshank Redemption was great. And even The Breathing Method, which was the winter story, that one was good. I thought it was better than Apt Pupil, and a lot of people like Apt Pupil. Maybe it's something I gotta reread, but I didn't like it. I think it was just a story that was kind of weird to follow, and B, the kid's kind of a dick. He's talking to this guy who's like this old Nazi veteran, and he's like trying to get this guy to like do bad things. And then the kid starts doing bad things. He like tortures, I think, like a neighborhood cat or something like that, and kills it. And it was really messed up. I didn't like that, and I don't know. It was just disappointing for me. I thought, a lot of people really liked this book, and I honestly didn't like it. I don't know. Maybe if I reread it, I might change my mind, just like the last one. But I doubt it. But we'll, yeah, big disappointment for 2020, especially during that showdown, because I thought Breathing Method was going to be the bad one, but this was the worst. So, Apt Pupil, big disappointment. This next one, I will say, is a very large disappointment because a lot of people talked this book up. A lot of people were like, yeah, I'm afraid of elk now because of this book. My wife read it. She said it was okay. And I absolutely hated this book. The Only Good Indians by Stephen Graham Jones. It felt like 5 stories put into one book, but it tried playing it off like it was one book. Like, to be honest, the only thing I remember about this book is some dude staring down into a fan and looking at like some girl's tits. And that's like the only thing I remember about this book. I didn't even think he was like looking at that. Like, he was like something about like a succubus. He ended up like killing her with like his motorcycle, and that was like a third of the way through the book. Everything else is a freaking blank. I didn't understand the whole concept with the elk. I still am not afraid of elk. I don't get it. Like, if I missed something major, let me know in the comments down below. But I did not get this. Paul Tremblay called it a masterpiece. I don't know where the heck he got that idea from.
I love the cover though.
I mean, yeah, it's a cool cover, but the inside is ugly. Yeah, The Only Good Indians was bad. The next one I contemplated putting on the list. I ended up putting it on just because, like I said earlier, compared to the other 2 in the trilogy, I guess now it's got 4 books because of the new one that just recently came out. This has got like little action in comparison to the first 2, and that's Mockingjay, Suzanne Collins. I did a read of the series over the summer. I didn't put any of them in a video, and this one, also one of the characters dies in this book that's like, I really didn't want to see that person die, and I didn't understand why they had to kill that person off. It was super annoying. I don't know. And I mean, the first 2, the Hunger Games, it's obviously the Hunger Games, you know, you're there. The second one, they like are forced to have to go through it again. And I thought that was a cool concept. That's where they meet my favorite character. And then the third one, it's like, yeah, now we're rebelling. And, you know, there's just a whole lot of like talking. I know there's some action scenes, and I just wanted more action out of it. I wanted more Hunger Games, I'll say, where people are like kind of killing each other off, because that's like how the whole series has been. But then they turn that around and kill my favorite character in the whole series, and he's not even in the first book. So if you've read the book and you've seen the movies, you know what character I'm talking about. I'm not going to spoil anything, but just know it was really disappointing. Man was a hunk, and I'm upset that he had to die. Yeah, Mockingjay, Suzanne Collins, disappointment. I have not read the 4th one yet, Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I'm yet to read that one, but I did hear a lot of people were disappointed with that book too. So maybe if I read that by the end of 2020, I might flip this one with that one, but I don't think I will. I also don't think I'm going to get to that book by the end of the year, so maybe that'll be an anticipated book for next year. Maybe that'll be a video I do during this little series thing. Who knows? But yeah, Mockingjay is disappointing. Just that one person dying just really rubbed me the wrong way. The next book I'm going to talk about, I did a reading vlog with. I think this is another Gabby Reads recommendations. I think this was the second one. That will be posted up here because I ranted about this book for probably 5 to 10 minutes. This book really, really was not good. And that's The Brightlands by John Fram. In terms of a complete novel, this was maybe like a third of a complete novel. And even that is a stretch. I really did not like this book. I didn't understand anything what happened. There's like homoerotica stuff that happens, guys talking about blowing guys, a football team where some stuff happens, and I just didn't follow it. I couldn't understand what was going on. It was just kind of a bunch of babbling on for like 300 pages, 470 pages. They talk about like each individual football player for a solid part of the book. There's just way too much characters in this, like, to try and squeeze into this kind of book. Like, it is 1,100 pages and it's only revolving around like 7 characters. This has got like 40 people in it, and it really was not good. So again, the video will be posted up above so you can hear me rant about it more. And this is it's a good example of like how one book would work for someone but not for somebody else, because Gabby really highly recommended this book and she gave it, I think, 5 stars. I think I gave it 2, like at best 2 stars. So if you want to give it a read, go ahead. You got mixed reviews from Gabby and me, but I don't know. Again, take a look at the video, because I ranted on it for like twice as long as I just did. So, very disappointing book. Alright, this next one I went into with high expectations because I had read his first book, Whisper Man, which the only thing that irritated me with that one was the narration by Christopher Eccleston, because they didn't differentiate between... It was confusing when you're going between 2 people. Like, sometimes a book will like say a person's name and then they read, and then they say a different person's name and you're in that person's point of view.
Or they have 2 people who will do each point of view.
Or they have a couple people doing like voices. In this, there's a female cop, or in that book there's a female cop and a guy, and they didn't like do any voice changes. So you're like, okay, which one are you talking about, Chris? I recommend not listening to the audiobook for Whisper Man, but you know, maybe that's something you're into where you just don't care and you just want to listen to someone talk for 7 hours. But I went into this, The Shadows, with high hopes. If I'm being perfectly honest, I don't remember like anything about this book. That's just how bad it was. Oh no, yeah, this was that thing where there was like a murder, and then like 20-something years later they like bring the person back because another murder happened. That's just how bad the book was to me. I don't remember what happened. I'm like choosing to neglect what happened in this book, and it was really disappointing. Alex North might not be my kind of author. I mean, it's kind of annoying though, because he's been a book of the month twice with The Whisper Man and this. So I don't know if it's just I don't know how to read Alex North, or Alex North doesn't have to write for me. But yeah, The Shadows, big disappointment. If you write the third one, maybe it'll be a toss of the coin. I don't know. But yeah, disappointment, The Shadows, no bueno. Alright, so we're down to the final disappointment of 2020. And if you exclude Shirley Jackson, Stephen King, this was probably the biggest disappointment I had for the year. If you've watched my videos, you might know which book I'm talking about here. Final Girls by Riley Sager. Holy crap, this was a train wreck for me. It was bad. And if I averaged out the star ratings between all the Riley Sager books I read besides this one, you're looking at 3.5 stars probably. 5 stars to Home After Dark. I think I gave 4.5 to the purple one. And I think the blue one might have been 3.5. It could have been 4. Check out the video up above. Yeah. I ran about this book for probably 15 minutes because it's bad. I hated this book. There was a short story I read called The Last Final Girls or something like that. I think that was Stephen Graham Jones. I don't remember. But that one was really disappointing. This one, this was not good. I don't know. He got better. I'll say that much, because this was his first book. Garbage. Second one, better. Third one, good. Fourth one, woo! Book 5, coming out next year, 2021. Most anticipated reads, 2021. Watch out for that video, coming out. Stephen King has one too. But, Final Girls, oh God. Just watch the video, it's bad. I don't shut up for probably 5 minutes about how garbage this book is, so. But yeah, biggest disappointment of 2020. Final Girls. Ooh. Alright guys, so this was the biggest disappointments of 2020. and it was quite a collection. What were some disappointments you had this year? Did you have any of the same ones I had? Or did you have completely different ones? Did you like these ones? Let me know in the comment section down below. And forget to like, comment, subscribe. Next video I think is going to be top 10 surprising books of 2020. Books that kind of were like I went into with low expectations and was really good. Or just didn't know anything about and were really good. So stay tuned for that next week. And we'll see you then. Later.